When you finish this video, every time you see one of these giants on the road, you'll instinctively keep your distance. Among all the massive vehicles on the highway, there is one that looks almost harmless. A truck carrying logs strapped down with thick chains, moving slowly along the road. But that calm image is an illusion. Because behind those wet, uneven, multi-ton logs lies one of the most unstable and treacherous loads ever moved on wheels. A logging truck doesn't need explosives or fuel to become a threat. It only needs a single curve, an imprecise brake, or a slight shift in weight. And here's the unsettling part. Even experienced drivers underestimate what this type of load can do to a 30-ton vehicle. Today, you're going to discover why a logging truck is one of the most dangerous giants traveling on modern highways. The first question is inevitable. What makes it so dangerous? At first glance, it looks like any other trailer. But the cargo it carries, massive logs that are wet, slippery and unevenly distributed, is a physical nightmare that fights against the driver every meter of the way. To understand the real danger of this load, we need to revisit a fundamental concept in physics that defines every single maneuver: the G-force. When we talk about 1G, we're talking about the acceleration of gravity, 9.81 meters per second squared. It's the constant force with which the Earth pulls us downward. Now, when a truck brakes or takes a curve, it experiences lateral and longitudinal accelerations measured in fractions of a G. Exceeding the limit that the vehicle can handle means only one thing: loss of grip, loss of control, and an imminent rollover. Let's put this into a safety scale. A typical family car can withstand up to 1.2 lateral Gs before its tires lose control. A tanker truck, due to the internal movement of the liquid, can barely withstand 0.4 G. But here's the shocking part. The logging truck is even lower on that stability scale. And the reason isn't found in its engine design or its chassis. The real problem lies in the load itself. The logs do not behave like firm, stable cargo. They are heavy, wet cylinders with irregular surfaces that never settle in a perfectly uniform way. Even when strapped down with industrial-grade tie-downs, there is always a small margin of movement. A few millimeters that might mean nothing to the human eye, but in physics, they are enough to change the vehicle's fate. When the truck enters a curve, the logs try to continue moving in a straight line, generating a lateral force the driver must compensate for. That force creates an internal shift that pushes the entire structure to one side, as if the truck were carrying a multi-ton battering ram trying to break free from inside. And here is the real problem. That force is not constant. It is unpredictable. One wet log may slide slightly, another may jam in place, and another may shift just a bit more than the rest. That mix of micro-movements creates chaotic behavior that reduces the truck's stability to a fragile and dangerous balance. Now imagine what happens when the driver hits the brakes. In an empty trailer, the deceleration force acts directly on the mass of the vehicle. But in a logging truck, the load reacts with a delay. The logs, because of their cylindrical shape, tend to roll forward. That rolling motion, even if it's only a few centimeters, amplifies the longitudinal force and causes the cab to dip as the trailer pushes from behind with a violence strong enough to crack supports or deform the chassis. It's the equivalent of braking while a pile of giant hammers rolls straight toward you. A single log placed incorrectly can generate a force equivalent to several tons, pushing with an impulse the driver cannot predict. But if braking is dangerous, turning is even worse. In a curve, the mass wants to keep moving straight. In a properly loaded truck, that force is distributed evenly. In a logging truck, it isn't. An outer log may slide slightly to the side, another may lift a centimeter, another may lose contact because of a pothole. These movements, tiny but decisive, shift the center of gravity. A tilt of just a few degrees is enough for the trailer to begin rolling sideways. And once that motion starts, stopping it is impossible. The statistics show that logging trucks have one of the highest rollover rates among all commercial vehicles. In the United States and Canada, dozens of accidents every year are linked to internal cargo movement. A fully loaded logging truck can carry between 20 and 30 tons of timber, each log weighing as much as a compact car. And all of those cars are loose inside the trailer, waiting for the exact moment when physics allows them to shift. But instability isn't the only danger. Wet wood is slippery. When it rains or when logs are stored in damp lumber yards, friction drops dramatically. Even certified industrial straps can lose tension due to sudden temperature changes or moisture absorption. If a single strap fails, the entire load can be released like a collective projectile. There are documented cases of logs piercing cabins, concrete walls, storefronts, and parked vehicles. Not because the truck was speeding, but because physics does not forgive when a cylindrical mass weighing a ton breaks free. And there's even more. The irregular length of the logs creates hidden dead zones in the truck's stability. Longer logs behave like giant levers. If even one of them shifts slightly upward, the entire platform can tilt in that direction. If the logs are too short, they create gaps that allow violent internal movement. The natural asymmetry of the load is a constant enemy. There is no perfect bundle. There are no two logs that are truly identical. There is no completely uniform distribution. That is why logging truck drivers receive specialized training. They must take wider turns, brake earlier than any other vehicle, and avoid sudden maneuvers even at low speeds. They are not just driving a truck, they are managing an unstable system with unpredictable behavior. Every kilometer is an exercise in anticipation. Physics doesn't lie. Wet wood weighs more. Its surface becomes more slippery. Its density changes. And any change in that density alters the way the load behaves when it moves. This explains why a logging truck can roll over even at low speed, even while following the rules, even in the hands of an experienced driver. It isn't negligence, it's the constant fight between the cargo and the vehicle. Now that you understand the science behind how these trucks behave, you'll see them with completely different eyes. They are not ordinary trailers. They are massive machines loaded with forces capable of shifting direction in milliseconds. That's why, whenever you see one on the road, you should keep your distance, avoid overtaking them on curves, and never, under any circumstances, stop too close to the rear of the load. Because the physics behind those logs doesn't distinguish between a small mistake and a major disaster. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever realized what a logging truck is truly carrying? And have you ever had a close call or a moment where one of these trucks made you rethink your distance on the road? Share your experience in the comments because your story might help someone else stay safe. And subscribe to CDC Creators Club, where every story reveals the engineering, the science, and the hidden forces shaping the world we live in.